Would Kid and Law work together with Luffy to defeat Kaido? Would Luffy even need to awaken Gear 5? And what about Totoland? How would Aokiji and Van Auger go about abducting Pudding? That's right, guys. All of this and more is what we'll talk about in this video. Note that this is not going to be a criticism video. There's plenty of that out here on the internet already. Instead, consider this what-if scenario from an objective, unbiased perspective. Now, I do want you to press that like button and maybe also subscribe because the algorithm loves that. But more importantly, stick around till the end because this is about to go south pretty fast. Alright, so Big Mom came to Wano with Perospero, Smoothie, and some of their siblings. Yeah, Smoothie and the rest got held back twice, but I'd say Perospero was decently involved during the course of the raid. At least until he met Nekomamushi. As for Big Mom, she formed an alliance with Kaido, an alliance that had the Marine headquarters literally sweating bullets. Now, if she never goes to Wano, the alliance would never happen, and the Onigashima Raid will be just about Kaido and freeing Wano. Well, it's not like the government or the Marines did much to begin with. Anyways, this would also mean that Aokiji and Van Auger can't just pull up and kidnap Pudding like they did. We're talking about the 25th cover story where, while Katakuri and Owen are chasing Germa 66, Aokiji and Van Auger show up at Chocolate 2 and abduct Pudding. Cracker is the only notable fighter, but Aokiji's ice basically no-diffs him. Now, this was a sneak in and then escape. There wasn't even a confrontation with Katakuri. But imagine if Big Mom was still in Totoland. Could Aokiji have pulled off something like this with her around? Or let's phrase it this way. Are Aokiji and Van Auger capable of pulling off a sneak attack like this against an emperor? This is the question, though it's also worth giving them the benefit of the doubt because the Straw Hats were able to do much worse to Big Mom pirates than just kidnapping Sanji, and Luffy was nowhere near as strong as Aokiji. Though, what if BlackBeard does take advantage of the fact that Kaido is getting jumped to jump Big Mom? Let's be clear, guys. Teach did try to take the Mero Mero no Mi from Boa Hancock, and he did make that deal with Kobe, and he did take advantage of Onigashima Raid to send Aokiji and Van Auger to Chocolate Town. But he is not Luffy. He would not have invaded Totoland, and Pudding wouldn't have gotten herself kidnapped. Unfortunately, this also means that Germa 66 wouldn't be able to escape either. But I want you to pause and think for a second. BlackBeard is still going to take advantage of the raid, but how? We'll answer this question at the end. For now, let's look at how the Wano arc will go. For starters, since there will be no nice Big Mom, the Udon prison scenario will go differently because she won't be there to stir things up, which means Queen won't take her away. And that means Luffy won't get to practice his reel there. Luffy and Kid will still get away though, considering how Caribou was there, not to mention Raizo. Besides, how hard can it be? It's just Queen and a bunch of fodder. However, unfortunately, while Luffy can learn about Ryo from Hyogoro, he won't be able to train like he did in Udon. Which brings us to the inevitable rooftop fight. Now, it's just Kaido versus Supernova, but Luffy is relatively weaker in this case because he isn't proficient in using Ryo yet. This can be a good thing though, because now Law and Kid can also learn it together with him. I mean, come on Luffy, stop gatekeeping your hockey mastery. Yes, it's going to be a horrible, brutal beating, but after Luffy figures out Ryo, Law and Kid can follow through. Zoro is Zoro. He will experience the worst of it until Luffy and the other two captains are strong enough to fight properly. He will also have an epic Zoro moment where he is protecting them all from one of Kaido's astronomically absurd attacks. And of course, he will also somehow manage to leave a scar on Kaido. After that, Zoro and Killer will be out. Killer will go on to fight Hawkins as planned, and Zoro will eventually fight King. As for the fight against Kaido, it'll be Luffy, Law, and Kid. But think about it this way, as Luffy inevitably figures out how he can use Advanced Conqueror's Haki the same way he can use Ryo, Kid will be able to follow suit, and Law will be the greatest support character in the world at that moment. Kaido is also going to have a blast fighting two Conquerors at the same time, and of course, Law's Devil Fruit will make everything a lot more interesting. This also means that there will be no reason for Yamato to join the fight, and there will be no reason for Luffy to respawn again and again. Meanwhile, let's not forget about Ulti Page 1 and Zeus. It's gonna be hard for Nami and Usopp, but maybe this would require the Straw Hats to step up their game. How about Yamato helping them instead of hijacking Luffy's fight? Now, there's another important point we have yet to talk about. Will Luffy awaken his fruit? Considering how Law and Kid were able to take out Big Mom, Luffy, Law, and Kid should be able to defeat Kaido. Especially because this version of Kid would know how to use Conqueror's Haki. It's not only possible, but also reasonable to expect these three to defeat Kaido. Remember back in chapter 1042, Luffy wouldn't have died if it weren't for the intervention of the CP0 guy. Plus, imagine if Law was in the same scene during chapter 1042. Would he have let someone sneak up on them? Of course not. Overall, what do you guys think? It would definitely feel a bit too early for Luffy to awaken Gear 5, but there is still a lot of thematic and metaphorical value in him becoming Nika against Kaido. Now, in the beginning of the video, we talked about BlackBeard and where he will fit in all of this. Well, what if the OG theories turn out to be true and he pulls up to Onigashima? For the sake of argument, we're going to assume that he knows about the Nika fruit. Yes, that is not enough of a reason to literally pull up to Onigashima, but think of it this way. It's the perfect opportunity. If Kaido dies, he can get the Azure Dragon fruit. If Luffy dies, he can get the Nika fruit. Yes, what if instead of that CP0 guy, it's BlackBeard who interrupts Luffy's fight? There are plenty of ways to do it, and he has the perfect kind of devil fruits. He can literally just quake it a little and Luffy gets smashed to death by Kaido. But little does he know, death is the key, and not the end. Ultimately, Kaido will lose and BlackBeard can get a beating by Gear 5, but he can also get the Azure Dragon fruit. Don't even have to wait for it to respawn. Just do it like he did with Whitebeard. What do you guys think? Does this sound like a reasonable way for things to go if Big Mom does not go to Wano? Kid will get development. The world's strongest creature Kaido won't be defeated in a one-on-one. And Big Mom will still be there for Luffy to defeat as he promised. Sounds interesting, but of course there are infinite ways this can go differently. So let me know what you think. Come on, let's continue this conversation in the comments section down below. And remember to kick that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Guys, it's always much appreciated. Well then, I'll see y'all in the next video. Ja ne.